Israel is now confirming that, yes, we destroyed Bashar al-Assad's nuclear reactor. Folks, the message to the Iranian regime could not be more clear. And there's no one better to talk to about those issues than Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus. He's the IDF's international spokesman, and he's also the head of the Israel Defense Forces social media arm. We sat down recently in Tel Aviv to talk about Iran, Hamas, Hezbollah, Syria, and why it matters not only to Israel, but to you. Take a look. Well, Jonathan, thanks so much for joining us here in downtown Tel Aviv.
Thank you for having me. A pleasure.
Great to have you. Look, there is a shadow, I guess you would say, descending from Tehran across the region. The Iranian regime is expanding, whether it's Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq. Can you talk about the Iranian regime's goals for the region and the dangerous moves that they have been up to in recent months?
They continue to expand and to export their specific brand of extremism. Unfortunately, they're very good at what they do. They're industrious, they know what they do, they have experience, they have done it successfully with Hezbollah in Lebanon. We're talking about a foreign influence with very hostile intentions that is projecting its power into an area where it has no business to be.
Yeah, Jonathan, and that land corridor that Iran is forming from Tehran all the way to the Mediterranean at Israel's doorstep.
You know, the issue with that is that Iran has been exporting weapons and arming Hezbollah, first and foremost Hezbollah, for a long period of time now. Hezbollah holds 120,000 rockets hidden inside houses in Lebanon, all of them aimed at Israeli cities. Now, they've been able to stockpile these weapons in complete disregard and violation of UN Security Council Resolution 1701. What worries us now is that they are trying to take these so-called dumb statistical weapons and turn them into guided weapons, where they have an accurate, much more accurate capabilities. We're sitting in central Tel Aviv now, right across from the military HQ, the Kiryat. If they would try to hit that with statistic weapons, they'd have to fire 30, 40, 50 rounds and maybe hit it. With precise munitions, it'll be one or two, and it could be a confirmed hit. That's our concern, and we're seeing that the Iranians are trying to upgrade the weaponry that Hezbollah has, and they're trying to position their forward operating bases inside Syria. That is something that the IDF has said very clearly will not be tolerated.
Right. Now, Jonathan, you mentioned Syria. Can you tell us why that Iranian presence inside Syria is such a red line? I think of Hezbollah, which you mentioned. Syria has become a training ground of sorts for Hezbollah. They are creeping closer to the Golan. Why is that such a red line for Israel?
We stay away from red lines, and we try not to have them clear to our enemies. But I would say that the Iranian presence in Syria is a significant concern. Why? They already control southern Lebanon by Hezbollah, their militia. They already have significant influence on Lebanese politics, and they basically have a stranglehold over Lebanon. Our concern is, and what we've seen the Iranians try to do, is to establish another front on the Golan Heights. They tried to do that. They were encountered by, I think, very stiff messaging from the IDF. We sent very clear messages that this is an area where we will not tolerate. The 10th of February, we had an attempt, I would say a probe, testing our defenses, testing our readiness and vigilance and our military capabilities. I'm happy to say that that event, that Iranian aggression, the UAV that was, by the way, a copy of an American UAV, was sent, penetrated into Israel, immediately intercepted, and the message was delivered very forcefully to the Iranians afterwards that, listen, you may think that we don't know what you're up to. We see you, we hear you, we follow your actions, and if you're going to cross the lines, you will have business with us.
Yeah, message sent, message received. Israel's a small country, Jonathan, but as you've laid out, whether it's southern Lebanon, the Golan, Israel's enemies are attempting to gather on its borders. We take it further south, we have Hamas in Gaza. Can you talk about, I think one of the big takeaways from the 2014 war was those terror tunnels that Hamas is digging. Can you talk about where we are at with the terror tunnels and what the IDF is doing to fight back against them?
What we've done now is that we've turned the page. I wouldn't say that we've finished the chapter or the book, by no means, but we've turned the page on our ability to confront these terror tunnels. We have a new toolbox at hand where we now have technological intelligence and operational capabilities that allow us to detect from various sensors the tunnels, where they are, and then depending on the location, the proximity of civilian population, etc., we're able to target it. We have targeted and effectively destroyed 4 tunnels over the last 4 months, all of them penetrating into Israel, all of them aimed at delivering terrorists underground into Israel. The Chief of Staff, General Eisenkot, defined that as a main objective for the IDF to deal with on a strategic level. The best and brightest have come together, and I'm happy to say that we have had American assistance as well, funding, as well as bright minds from the US, helping us with finding technical solutions to, basically it's a fusion of different sources, right, that you have to fuse together to get a specific answer to a question: where's the tunnel and how can we target it? And now I think it's safe to say that we have those tools at hand, and it's a great thing.
Tell us more about the great Israeli technology in the battlefield, whether it's Iron Dome, fighting against the tunnels, cyber warfare. Tell us a little bit more about some of the advancements of the IDF in those areas.
Iron Dome is one such example. I think it's a great example of how we're able to harness bright minds and work together with American industries to produce a life-saving system. We constantly seek to improve, we constantly seek to adapt and develop new technologies. I think Iron Dome is perhaps the most vivid example because it's combat proven.
You touched on the American relationship, obviously Iron Dome. A little bit more for people at home, just so they know how deep that US-Israel cooperation runs. Give us a few more examples. I know there have been some training exercises recently here in Israel.
The best example would be the Juniper Cobra 2018 exercise that we just completed. It was outstanding. This was American forces, Army, Navy, Marines, and the Air Force from Europe, from Stuttgart, who came to Israel as part of the biannual exercise, which is about coordinating air defense. The Iron Dome, David Sling, Arrow, and other missile defenses that we have came over, drilled together. We had Marines fighting alongside Israeli paratroopers, conducting close quarter urban terrain training, live fire exercises, linking up, sharing their battle stories, really on the lowest level and all the way up to the national level. There's a very strong bond. We're happy to share our knowledge and very eager to learn from the knowledge that our American counterparts have.
Yeah, there's a genuine alliance, a genuine friendship, and it's great to see.
It definitely is, and it's something that we cherish and intend to maintain and strengthen.
Jonathan, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
We really appreciate it. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again to Lieutenant Colonel Conricus for joining us. Be sure to check him out on Twitter for the latest updates from the Israel Defense Forces. Well, coming up, we are staying in the national security realm with 2 of the world's top experts to talk about what's happening in the Middle East, the good and the bad, and why it matters. It's The Watchman, it's Christians United for Israel, only right here on TBN. Stick around.